Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Louie, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with Alex Melen, the co-founder and co-CEO of SmartSites, a fast-growing full-service digital agency that provides website design and development, SEO, and PPC. Welcome to the call, Alex.
Hey, great to be here.
Alex, you grew your company's revenue from $1.7 million in 2014 to $3.5 million in 2017. A 110% increase, and now you're on track to hit $5 million in 2018. What were the three most important things that your team executed well that allowed your company to grow its sales so fast?
Great question. There's a couple of things that we've always focused on since the start of the company, which has allowed us to grow at this pace. I think the most important is really focusing on our clients and really providing a five-star experience. Our goal as a company is to provide help to small businesses to get them into a digital world, which often involves making them the website or fixing the website, and then doing online marketing. A lot of times businesses, even in this day and age, you'd think in 2018 everyone's online, but actually even 2018, 2019, there's still a lot of businesses out there that just haven't made the jump, and our goal is to get them into digital so they could better compete with other people who are jumping in. I think that has been the primary goal of the company, and the demand for it is there. As long as you're providing a quality service, the demand is there, and that's been the core of our company. And of course, along with that, we make sure that all the employees are happy and maintain a company culture. There's a lot of kind of pillars that go into growing the company.
So just to recap, the three things that really were the core drivers of your success is one, staying on point with your goal to get small businesses into the digital world, and two, keeping your employees happy, and three, maintaining your culture. Is that the three things?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty accurate. At the end of the day, we don't make a product. We don't produce or sell an actual product or device. Our product is our employees. So keeping the employees happy, trained, and having them be excited to come into work and actually excited to provide the results to the clients kind of goes full circle and makes everything possible.
Right. Now, how do these three factors work together for you to ultimately, at the end of the day, find more clients to do work with and do more work with your existing clients? How do all these three things tie together to drive your growth?
Great question. So I think the core of all of this is pretty much reputation, whether it is reputation as a company for employees or reputation as for the services that we provide online. And I think all of this goes full circle. Employee culture and employees being happy allows us to provide quality services to our customers and allows us to maintain our reputation. We are so far have all 5-star reviews across the board on any channel, any review site for both employees like Glassdoor and services like Yelp, Google Plus, whatever it is, and literally maintaining that and providing the quality service as it kind of goes full circle, and people refer us and other people refer us, and it helps fuel the growth.
Yeah, it's really remarkable when you, especially seeing good reviews on Glassdoor, because the times I see it, pretty much the only people who respond and post on Glassdoor are those people who had really unhappy, unpleasant experiences at their former employer, right?
Same with Yelp. Yelp is usually despised by every business because usually same thing. People go onto it usually to write about a bad experience, not a good one. So it definitely takes a lot of effort from every single person in a company to maintain our reputation.
Yeah, and even for me, I rarely take the time to leave a review. The only time I do is if, and usually it's when I have some sort of exceptional experience, then I'll write it. Yeah. And for me to leave a negative review, man, it has to be really, really bad for me to want to do that. So that's fantastic that you guys have been delivering exceptional experiences. Now, can you share with me maybe some numbers, if you don't mind? Back in 2014, how many clients did you have way back then?
Great question. I could actually pull that up and we could look. Give me 1 second. But instead of me making my numbers up, we'll look at the actuals.
All right.
Going back far, 2014, you said?
Yeah, well, that's the number I had from your Inc. 5000 profile where you talked about
Yeah,
your success over the past 3 years, right? 1.7
yeah,
million back in 2014.
yeah. So back then we just had a little bit over 100 recurring customers. So we have a lot of one-off projects, like someone comes to us, we make them a website, they're done, they leave.
Hmm.
But we had 100 clients who are on a recurring basis paying us for online marketing.
Nice. And how are you today? Come the end of 2018, how many recurring
We're,
clients do you have?
we're finishing up at almost 300.
300. Okay, I got to ask, how did you get from 100 to 300 if it was the end of 2014 to end of 2018? That's 4 years. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, and it definitely didn't come overnight. It's definitely been organic growth month to month, quarter to quarter, year over year. There's definitely no magic bullet where you're just going to wake up the next day and you're going to have 3 times more clients and be able to deliver the same quality service and the same results. It's a lot of grinding and a lot of growing the business slowly over time. Our executive team here, for example, meets every quarter and every year and plans out how we're going to grow next quarter. And we set realistic goals and how we're going to get to those goals. And quarter by quarter, we've been meeting and exceeding our own goals and growing the company.
So can you share what your best source of new business has been over the past 4 years?
Yeah, great question. So we get our business from a lot of different channels, and as we keep growing, we're trying to keep differentiating the channels to make sure we're not getting, because if you're getting everything from one channel and then you want to keep growing, it's just not going to work out. But just looking at, for example, even let's look at 2018. We get a lot of recurring referral business. So a lot of our clients are really happy and they refer us to other people. And that usually works really well because everyone always knows someone's struggling with something digital. And just by having our online reputation and delivering good results to our current clients, we're always top of mind for them to recommend to other people. So that's always been a great source. We get a good amount from just Google Organic. So it's a service we offer to other people and do for ourselves. We have really good content on our website, so people find us through a lot of the content that we publish. We also do a lot of thought leaderships. I personally do keynotes and speaking events to build up awareness of our company and of our services. And then we do marketing for ourselves like we would do for our clients through PayPerClick. Literally, we bid on things like PayPerClick management, website design, just to help people find us. That's pretty much it, but we try to keep it a mix of everything, so we're not overly relying on one source of leads.
Fantastic. Yeah, well, while you were talking, I fired up my what, I don't know. I guess the way to best put it is the spy tool, right? The one you can. Yeah. I know you guys have it too, right? You pull up a website, you see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I see on my screen here that you have quite a number of a couple hundred Google keywords that you're bidding for, a good number on Bing and Yahoo. And it says you're spending the estimate here, and let me know if it's accurate or not. I always wonder how good these ranges are. It's saying that you're spending about $14,000 to $38,000 a month on your pay-per-click budget. Is that about right? Does the real number fall in that range?
Pretty accurate. We usually spend $50,000 a month. I think the last week we've been spending a little bit less because we've had some internal initiatives going on. But yeah, it's funny. Those tools, the more you spend, the more accurate they get.
Right.
When sites are spending like 5,000-10,000, it could be like completely off. But once you're like 50, 100 plus, it becomes more accurate. But that's actually not too far off. I think last month was probably a little over 50. This month will probably land at 40, 45, considering the holidays.
Okay. Now, given that you guys do this for your clients as well, can you share with me, of the four sources, right? Referrals, Google Organic, Thought Leadership, and pay-per-click ads. Which one gives you the best ROI?
The best ROI. It all depends how you calculate ROI.
Yeah.
SEO is very long-lasting. So similarly, same as the services we offer to our clients. With SEO, it's a very long-term process. but the results are also long lasting. So for example, if we stop doing our own SEO now, we would still continue to rank for years and years to come. Our rankings would move down a little bit as our competitors keep doing things that we're not. But overall, it keeps going into the future. Pay-per-click, it's pretty much if I stop bidding right now, we'll stop getting leads right now.
Yep.
In terms of actually ROI, they're probably, if you look very long term and look at lifetime values, they're probably pretty close.
Okay.
But I will say that pay-per-click in general, and this is something I tell my clients also, it's not a secret, but it gets more expensive every year, and that's been the case since I think we first started doing pay-per-click for our agency in 2011. So it's been almost 8 years now. Every year the ROI gets worse and the cost gets higher, and it'll continue to happen. As more and more people jump into digital space, you'd think that almost everyone's there already. But if you look at national advertising spend in general, digital is still only, I think last I looked, it was less than a quarter of overall marketing spend. So as more and more funds get shifted from TV, print, billboards into digital, it'll continue being more expensive. But I think the takeaway from that is the best time to do it is right now, because every month, every year, it's just going to keep getting more expensive. The ROI is still there and will be there for a long time, but the best time to do it is today.
Yeah. Are you comfortable sharing the ROI numbers that you're getting from your own pay-per-click advertising campaigns?
I could talk about general figures.
Sure.
Generally speaking, a couple of years ago, when we started tracking this a lot more accurately, we would get $6 in sales from every dollar spent on pay-per-click.
Nice.
This is lifetime value, so it's not necessarily if I get it in month one. We estimate, for example, that let's say SEO contract stays with us for 12 months. So it's very reasonable lifetime value calculations based on our actual lifetime values, where we saw each client in each category stay with us for how long. But a couple of years ago, it was $6 for every dollar spent, and that's why we do invest at $50,000 on pay-per-click, because the results have been good.
Yeah.
I think last year we dropped to maybe $5 per every dollar invested, and this year it might be like $4.50. So it definitely continues to decline as the cost per click get bidded up by everyone else jumping in. But it's still there's very very few industries where you will not get results from pay-per-click. I think literally in 9 out of 10 clients. Even today in a more competitive market, you could still get, not only can you get results from pay-per-click, but you'll get better results than your TV ads or your print or some of the other medias that you're also doing.
Right. So you're saying that this year, when you say this year, you're talking about 2018, you're
Correct.
Around the $4.50 mark of sales. Okay. Now, maybe you can add some color on this, which I always find really interesting. Sometimes, I come across an ad agency selling their wares, right? A pay-per-click ad agency marketing their stuff. And then I fire up my tool to see what kind of campaigns they're running for themselves. And they're not running any campaigns for themselves at all, which looks really odd, right? I mean, here you are marketing your pay-per-click ad management services, but yet you don't run campaigns for yourself. What do you think the story is about that?
Yeah, and it's funny. We actually do pay-per-click campaigns for other agencies. Like they come to us and they overlap some of the services, and sometimes we just say, obviously, we can't do it, but if it's different enough or it's a different price point or a different niche, we take that on. But it's because it's very, very expensive and very easy to lose a lot of money on. It's one of the more expensive categories. For example, the term PPC management right now costs, to be number 2, costs about $50, $60 a click. So to get one click. So if your campaign's not properly optimized, if your landing page is not properly optimized, if you're not picking up your phones at the right time, if you're not doing the follow-ups, if you're not really doing everything perfect, there's no way to monetize that. Because let's say 1 out of 10 people are going to fill in the form on your website, you're already at $500 in cost. It's similarly on the web design side. It's also not as expensive, but on the website design side, there's a lot of people doing it really cheap. So you're competing against that, and so similar. We have a client that does logo designs, and we kind of do as well. It overlaps a little bit, but there are different price points. So we do pay-per-click for them. On the logo design side, there's a lot of companies advertising that they'll do your logo for $20, and then the keyword logo design costs you $5 a click. So it's one of the more challenging industries, and I could see that companies that even companies that consider themselves to be experts in it and build themselves as experts in it might shy away from doing it for themselves because it's very easy to lose a lot of money on it.
Right. So they may be an expert and can deliver value for their clients in this particular niche, but because their niche is very competitive, it's difficult to run ad campaigns for themselves. Is what
Yeah.
it boils down
Yeah,
to.
yeah, and it's risky for them, and not a lot of agencies have the finances or the appetite for risk to throw in 50,000 in 1 month on pay-per-click ads and then hope it pays off over the next year.
Yeah. Now, how did you guys have the confidence that investing whatever you started investing in back in 2011 that you said, yeah, this is going to work for us? Or was it more of an experiment way back then and you said, let's start small, see what happens, and if it looks good, we're going to scale it up?
Yeah, great question. So when we just started the agency, I don't think we were as focused on our core services, and we were trying a lot of different things. So to be fair, I think and I think that's very important. I think it's very important to experiment, especially for smaller agencies, to kind of find their place, to find what makes them special and what sets them apart from other agencies. So we definitely experimented with a lot of things in terms of both of how we marketed ourselves and the services we offered. And I think it just over time we saw that we were getting great results. And I think the two most important things is first, obviously, take the risks and experiment. I think that would be a huge takeaway. I think number two would be you have to really collect all the data and track everything. Don't start any experiment without first setting the KPIs and making sure everything's measurable. So we experimented with both how we marketed ourselves and our services and recorded all the data. That's why I could tell you exactly what ROI I'm getting, not only per year, I could tell you actually per service. I know that for web design, for example, our ROI is different than from pay-per-click. I could tell which performs better, and based on that, I know how much to bid on each specific category and adjust things, and we kind of took it from there. But I think both are equally important as companies grow. That kind of the desire and the drive to experiment and try different things, but at the same time to make sure you're actually collecting data and learning from your experiments, not just experimenting and then going, I don't know if it worked. Did it work? It felt like it didn't work.
Right. So for those people who want to use pay-per-click ads for their campaigns, for their marketing, when a company comes up to you and maybe even broaches that idea to you, what are your requirements before you say, yeah, let's go ahead, it makes sense? Or are there some criteria that you say, no, I don't think you're ready for this right now?
Yeah, so it's not unfortunately it's not a kind of fine rule book, but I'll tell you, people for PPC come to us from two different two distinct different situations. So situation one is that they're currently running a pay-per-click campaign, but it's not performing well, or it's not getting them results, or maybe they don't even know if they're getting results or not. So that's part one. And in that case, we do an audit of the account. We're one of the few agencies that still does a completely manual audit with no obligation. So a lot of agencies just run your account through a tool and then just tell you what the tool showed. We actually have an analyst that sits through the account and spends 2 hours going through everything and gets on a call, and this is before any contract signed, no obligations, and then says, this I think we could do better, this you can't do better. I would say eight times out of 10, we see things that could be improved significantly enough that we say you should do it, whether you sign with us or another similar agency. You should sign with someone else and it could perform better. 2 times out of 10, we just tell them that it's actually set up really, really well as it is, and either stick with what you're doing, or if it's not getting results, maybe it's not worth doing. So that's the one scenario where people already have an account, right? So that's usually a little bit could make a little bit better of a decision because the data is already there, the account has run, like we could see what's happened in the past and make a very good educated decision. The other scenario that happens is people come to us and they've never done pay-per-click. And for that, it's more of analysis whether it's actually feasible. We run different scenarios. We look at our own similar clients. We look at a lot of third-party tools that are out there that help estimate cost per click, conversion rates, things like that. I think in that scenario, similarly, I think eight times out of 10, we say that everything looks good. This is what your numbers will look like. This is how much it'll cost you per click. This is what we estimate will convert. Maybe we recommend they make a landing page or something more action driven if their website's not so good, or redesign the website. But I think 80% of the time we say that let's do it. We think you could get results out of this. And then the 20% I think is there's certain industries that just maybe they worked before but just don't now, and we just tell them it's not worth it. You would waste your money.
Right. Okay, great. For the going back to how you grew your business from 100 recurring online to 300 recurring, and you talk about 4 sources: the referrals, the organic through SEO, thought leadership, keynotes, pay-per-click ads. Now, if you only had one choice of new business leads, which of the 4 would it be? To meet your targets, meet your ROI, whatever is most important to you, which of the 4 would you run with?
If I had to pick one as the primary, you're saying?
Yeah.
So I'm a little biased because here the company actually head up the pay-per-click department, so that's kind of like my baby. So I'd go with pay-per-click, and I'll say it's because it's the most scalable out of the platforms. For example, referrals. As much as I think we'll keep getting more, and we get more as we get more and more clients, it's not very possible for me to say, okay, next quarter I want to get 10 times more referrals. Yes, there's some levers we could pull. We could send thank you cards to our clients and remind them that they could refer us, and could run a lot of internal initiatives to do that. But at the end of the day, I think pay-per-click is the most scalable, and why it's such a great platform. And it's I think out of all of our services, it's been the fastest growing in the last couple of years.
I actually would have, in my mind, I would have chosen pay-per-click as well, right? Just because of the scalability feature. Although I imagine if you were now paying, getting $1.50 of lifetime value for $1 per click, you might have a different choice, right?
Yeah, eventually, I think eventually once the numbers are not as favorable, then it becomes more of a conversation of which service is it more favorable and still makes sense. For example, for logo design right now, the numbers aren't so favorable because there's so many services doing logos really cheap. We do an actual, like when we do a logo design, we do a full branding package. So we give you branding collateral and different formats, and you could print it in a magazine and format for your website. But we're competing against services that make you a logo for like $50. So when I run the numbers for logo design, even though we do it, we still do some marketing for it a little bit here and there. It's just not profitable enough. So I think it'll be a similar scenario down the road when it starts being less profitable. I think there's certain services that will still be good. It's just certain other ones I think will start dropping off a little bit. But
yeah.
You never know. At the same time as cost per clicks have been going up and it's getting more competitive, much more people are searching for these things. So there's definitely a trade-off to the increase of cost, to the trade-off of increased volume. So
right. Now, where does email marketing fit into these 4 programs, if at all, for generating business for you?
Great question. So email marketing, we don't do a ton of both for ourselves and for our clients. It's at a certain point a couple of years ago, we just chose to concentrate on core services that we do well and really just focus on just doing an exceptional job at those services. And email marketing just didn't make the cut. We could certainly do it, and we have done it for clients that really want us to do it, but it just didn't make it into our core services. Having said that, we still do some email marketing. We send out, for example, we do a holiday newsletter to all the people who we have a list of all the people who filled out contact forms with us but didn't wind up signing. So we send them an email saying, just a reminder, if you still, happy holidays, if you still need anything that we could help with, reach out to us. So we do kind of soft email marketing like that. I know there's a lot of agencies that do it more aggressively. I also know that it's been harder and harder to do, especially if you compare today to 10 years ago, just because email open rates have dropped down tremendously. 10, 15 years ago, well, if you go back to 15 years ago, getting an email was a very special thing, right? People would log into their computer like excited to see if they got an email, and
Yeah.
people would open all their emails. Like even if it went to people go spam, they would open all their emails. Similarly, people used to click banners a lot more. They were like,
Yeah.
when it just came around. So the same with email. Over time, as people get bombarded with spam, I think the amount of people that actually open emails that are not from someone they recognize just has dropped down a lot. So we just don't do that marketing channel. But I know companies that do it for themselves and do see results. I know it's gotten more competitive, but I think it's still feasible, and I wouldn't rule it out as a marketing source for us in the future.
Right. So can you share now you shared with me how you had 100 recurring clients in 2014, 300 in 2018. Do the recurring clients make up the bulk of your revenue?
Um,
Or is it the
I would,
one-time guys that contribute a lot as well?
yeah, I'll tell you. So I would say it's about three quarters. The one time are usually the reason I say that is because we're talking about revenue, not necessarily number of clients. So the one time ones may not be as often, but they're usually big website projects. So on the big website projects, someone comes to us and says, I don't want to do any marketing. I just need to have a brand presence. For example, we had a pharma company that came to us. They're not even allowed to do marketing in their space. They have a pharma product that's not approved yet, but they need to have a corporate website to get investors. So they came to us and said, we need absolutely nothing recurring. We just need a website.
Right.
And it's usually they pay half upfront, half upon completion. It would be 20,000 or whatever. It depends on the scope of a project. So usually bigger numbers than we might be getting from the recurring guys. For pay-per-click management, for example, our rates are probably one of the more competitive ones out there. We charge the greater of $500 or 15% of spend. So to visualize the numbers, if you're spending less than $3,300 a month, you pay us $500. If you're spending more than $3,300 a month, you're paying 15%. But relatively speaking, that's $500 a month. Actually, for that $500 a month, we do tons of work managing your campaign. I went off on a tangent a little bit, but for the websites, my point was for the websites is a big upfront payments, where for the ongoing SEO is pricier, but for PPC, it's a lot of $500 a month clients. SEO, we start at $2,000 a month up. So in terms of revenue, the website projects probably are probably a third, and the 2/3 are the recurring pay-per-click SEO type of clients.
Okay. So then the next question I have for you on the recurring side,
Yep.
what another way of growing your revenue in general for your business, right, is to help your clients more, do more work for them, and be paid more. So
Yep.
how has your average annual revenue from your recurring clients changed over the past 4 years?
Yeah, so great question. I think that's a huge takeaway that we discovered probably 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, where we had a lot of clients kind of in isolated silos where we would just do one service for. Or for example, someone would come to us and say, I want email marketing. And we were like, yeah, we don't really do it, but I guess we'll do it for you. And then we would just do email marketing for them, and that's it. And the realization 4 or 5 years ago is that we could actually, instead of just performing single services, we could become the digital partner for these companies. And that's usually where we get the most value and the client gets the most value, where we literally provide all the services. We make them a website, we do SEO, we do pay-per-click. Because we made them the website's already optimized for SEO. We already have access for it to install all the tracking and optimize everything and make landing pages. And then we literally become their partner for everything. They need their logo remade, they come to us. So I think great question. I think that's literally what helped scale the business to some extent, where we realized that instead of just offering service in isolation, we could start offering these bundles and becoming a digital partner where we literally will do anything digitally the client needs. And like I said, it winds up being better value for the client, they don't have to go get different agencies and have a lot. They wind up with extra costs actually when you have extra agencies because you have to explain the same thing multiple times, and you have to wind up getting access from one place, giving it to another place. One agency points fingers to another agency, so it's a value to the client and it's a value to us because then we have one project manager assigned to them that manages a bunch of the services, and it's just more cohesive of a process.
Right. And can you share how your average revenue per client has evolved and changed from 2014 to today?
Yeah, for sure. I think we went from very few clients that were spending five figures a month with us to now a quarter of them spending five figures a month with us.
Okay, it's a big change,
Yeah.
big difference.
Yeah, and it's worked out. The clients who do that are also happy. Like literally helped ever. So many clients were just so happy when they realized that I no longer need to have a agency that makes me a website and different one that does SEO and different one that does social media, different one to redesign my logo. That I could literally have one place and have everything go funnel through one agency. It was a lot of clients have been really happy with that approach. So it's been I've that was one of the better decisions we made.
Yeah. So I took a look at the people on LinkedIn of your employees,
Yeah.
and I see how you have a whole bunch in the New York area, and you got a whole bunch in South Asia as well. Now, are all the people on your team, are they full-time employees of your company?
So great question. So our headquarters are in Paramus, New Jersey. So we're right outside of New York City. So we have about 20 people here now. We have 4 positions open, so we'll have 24 hopefully by the end of the year. But then we have offices worldwide. So those offices are our actual offices where we pay the rent for it and full-time SmartSites employees. And what's interesting is the overseas offices take it even more seriously than here of being like part of SmartSites. They like literally wear shirts that say SmartSites on it, and they feel so connected to a company because overseas, especially Southeast Asia, a lot of people just wind up doing like ad hoc projects for random people, and they work like through Fiverr and like through all these places, and they don't really belong to a company. So when we actually hire them, they're so excited to be literally part of an American company, and it works out very well. We have our back-end development office is in Russia. Our front-end development is in Nepal. Our design team is in India. So we have offices throughout, content teams in Thailand. And we actually meet up with all the offices once a year. So last year, our executive team went to India to do a retreat there with all the employees. And this year, well, this springtime, it got pushed off a little bit because of visa regulations, but this springtime we're going to be bringing all the team leaders from all the different offices here to New York City. So it's been it's been both challenging and rewarding. By having the overseas offices, it helps us in two ways. One, it helps keep our costs low enough that we could provide a much cheaper service, but at the same time still provide a quality service, but really provide value for our clients. Because, for example, for a lot of our ad hoc work, we charge $100 an hour. That's our ad hoc like development rate. If we had everyone in the U.S., we would have to charge $300 an hour and would provide much less value to our clients. So from the cost perspective, it's been really helpful, and even from having so much different expertise has been really helpful. Like we separated our offices based on function, and the back end development team are all these high end programmers, and they just bring a whole different level of dynamics compared to our front end developer team that does the more simple coding and WordPress. And it's definitely challenging managing an international team and all the aside from managing the people, all the legal regulations and things like that. But overall, it's been really helpful and has helped us provide the most value for our clients, which at the end of the day is the goal.
Fantastic. Can you share what your plans are for 2019? What are your objectives? How many recurring clients are you aiming for in 2019? What's your revenue target?
Yeah, great question. So we're going to be finishing off 2018 at 5 million or so. It should be a good jump. Last year, I think it was 3.5, closer to 3.6. For 2019, the goal is to continue continue that growth. More so, there's specific departments. For example, the pay-per-click department that our goal is to double it next year. So double in terms of how much money we manage spend, and both in terms of headcount. So that's a big part of it, and that's literally the goal is 100% growth. And then certain other departments are smaller, but it's all based on the trend we're seeing of the sales coming through, of our margins on certain projects. So it's department by department, and we're still in the process of actually setting a company-wide goal. I think it's literally just adding up what each department adds up to, but the soft goal would be to be around 7 million end of 2019 from the 5 million we're going to finish up now.
And do you have an inkling as to how many more clients you're going to need to get there? You're at about 500 recurring right now.
We're at 300 recurring now.
300 right now.
We'd have to be at least 400. I think to some extent, though, one of the initiatives is to increase the how much services we're doing for each client. As we just talked about, I think there's still a lot of add-on services that we could be doing that we aren't. For example, we want to start rolling out more graphic design work for our clients. A lot of our clients also advertise in print magazines, for example, and we could be designing those creatives and make it match the website, which obviously would be great for everyone. So that's another add-on service that we're going to be pushing a little bit harder in 2019. So I think part of it's going to be growing how much we make from each client, but also I think we'll continue our natural growth of how many clients we have. We have our cancellation rates, knock on wood, are very low, and our growth from the last couple of months, quarters, years has been very steady, and I have no doubt it'll continue into 2019.
What do you foresee would be your biggest challenge to get from where you are today to where you want to go in 2019?
Great question. Yeah, so that's a very good question, and we as a company, we have the executive team has meetings, and we literally discuss and try to see the upcoming challenges to kind of plan for them before they blindside us. I think one of the bigger ones that we foresee in 2019 is just growing the headcount of the company, both from office space. So the office here in Paramus, we just moved into a year and a half ago, and it was double the office we had previously. But once we hire these 4 people that we have the positions open for, we literally have no more office space. So we now have to get a bigger office or expand the office. So even logistically, things like that. But more generally, just growing headcount. I think it's a very big jump from. So right now, worldwide, we have probably around 80 employees full time. Taking the jump from 80 to let's say 150 is a huge jump. Because right now I'm able to interact with old employees, and I know old employees. Once you keep growing and make the next jump up, that's much harder to do. It's much harder to maintain the company culture, and it's much harder to guarantee the quality of the services we provide as we keep growing to those levels. But up until this point, it's still been manageable to a point where I still know everyone, I talk to everyone, I help everyone, I try to mentor as many people as I can. But obviously, if we double headcount, and part of the plans is to close to double headcount, that becomes much more challenging.
Right. Now, how are you going to hire these extra 70 people? How are you going to find them and bring them on board in 1 year's time? Yeah,
great question. So we probably won't need to hire as many. Well, it depends. It depends how things they're looking, but that was kind of like a worst case. This is what we have to plan for. Locally here, we do Indeed. It's been the best for us for hiring people, but it's definitely not an easy process. And then the international offices, the leads, like the main person for each office is responsible for mostly finding the talent. We get involved with interviews as well, but they have some independence of controlling the headcount on their level.
2 last questions for you, Alex.
Yep.
Who are your ideal clients, and what's the best way for them to contact your company?
Great question. So I think our ideal clients, and this is just from working with lots of different clients. We work with everyone from one-person companies to Fortune 500 companies. But I think the ideal client winds up being somewhere in the middle. I think the companies are, I don't know, 5 to 100 employees, where if they wanted to do all of this themselves, hire someone to do it, they just can't find one person that would be able to do their web design, SEO, and PayPerClick, and social media, and everything like that. So hiring internally doesn't always make sense. And then on the flip side, you have the smaller companies can't even afford to hire a single person. They wind up using like their cousin to make them a website or something like that. So we usually provide the best value for that small to medium sized business, where it just doesn't make sense for them to do it any other way. Many attempt to, but that's literally where we bring in value, where we come in and we say we could be your digital partner. You don't have to worry about anything digital, and we'll take care of everything digital for you. How they could find us, they could, if you go to our website, SmartSites.com, find both our contact information and a lot of great information about us. And of course, if you Google around, you can read some of our reviews and see what other people have said about us. And if you want to reach out directly, you could always email contact@smartsites.com or call us at 201-870-6000. And people are more than welcome to connect with me personally as well. If you search Alex Melen or go to alexmelen.com, I have all my social media profiles up there, and I always welcome people connecting.
Thanks for joining us today, Alex, and sharing how you accelerate your company's high-value sales so quickly.
No problem. Thank you.
We've been speaking with Alex Melen, the co-founder and co-CEO of SmartSites, about its company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit eversprint.com.